Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It's a beautiful thing about the internet.
It doesn't matter what time it is. This is Kelly.
Kyle, this is no bullshit. Oh,
Maybe.
Forgot the jazz hands, first thing.
I still think that's copywritten.
Not with the jazz hands.
Hey, whatever. Jazz hands work.
God damn it. All right. It's going to be a rough one.
This is going to be a fun one. I drink coffee at 7 at night.
Wow.
Unless we're on the West Coast,
God,
it's 4 in the afternoon.
He's such a fucking rebel. Out of his Batman coat.
I'm an adult.
Ish.
Okay.
Ish.
Kelly, what is our topic today and why?
Our topic today, actually, I think you chose the topic. Well, I guess we agreed. It was a mutually agreed upon topic. Trust in early recovery and patience. Yeah, that's the topic.
We didn't talk about how we're going to start this or do this at all.
No.
So, what are your thoughts on? You're probably more on the trust side since you are
yes,
a family member. I'm more on the patient side since I'm the addict.
No, not necessarily.
Well, they coincide with each other, but
not necessarily.
I'm on the opposite side of the trust factor. Patience is similar in both aspects, but I guess we'll kind of delve into it as we go.
All right.
We're gonna wing this one.
All right. Let's have a scenario going here. Okay, you've come home from rehab. You've been home for, let's say, 37 days.
Is this the first rehab I come home from?
No, this is the fourth.
Fourth rehab, okay.
Fourth rehab. You're home 37 days. You're on your pink cloud. You're feeling amazing. You got this time. Maybe you do.
Love that pink cloud.
We want to believe that you do as parents and loved ones. We really are rooting for you. However, our hearts have been broken a million times already because every time you come and you say, I'm ready this time, I want to get clean, it breaks our heart. So we're very cautiously optimistic. We're rooting for you, but we have to protect our own hearts a little bit too. So that's part of, I think, what people are feeling and perhaps misinterpreting. What do you think? I mean, is that how you would, because that's really how a lot of family members feel. I'm not gonna lie. No bullshit.
No bullshit. Well, if this is the fourth time, you should probably, as an addict, you got to be honest with yourself. First off, I don't know in this hypothetical situation how many times, but this is the fourth time I've been home.
You're gonna speak this.
Let's say I've maybe had a couple months in between each one. When you're out of detox, even when like the first couple weeks or say 37 days or so, you genuinely want to believe. You genuinely want to believe and do believe
and
for the most part
that
you got it this time. But if it's the fourth time, you have to expect at least some mistrust or the fact that you have to earn it back.
Okay, because you know what? While you were doped up and perhaps stealing from your family, I mean, let's be real, that it's a shitty behavior that goes along with addiction frequently. Not every addict steals from people.
It took me a long time to start doing it.
But I'm saying it happens frequently. You may have kind of pushed this in the back of your mind, but we still remember you just emptied our bank account 3 months ago, and you know what? We're kind of annoyed about it. We love you. We understand these shitty behaviors go along with addiction, but no bullshit.
I think
it's annoying. We're behind on our car payment now, and it's going to take a little while for that mild irritation to go away.
I think you're right. At this point, if it's the fourth time or even it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, anything. Honestly, the first time is a little bit different because the first time you go to rehab and you get out, you've never had the perspective of having to admit that you relapse, or like the first time I did it, I relapsed after about 8 or 9 months, and the shame factor that goes along with the first time is that coffee's kicking in. Coffee.
Take a.
The shame that coincides with
He's on Kool-Aid again.
I'm not on Kool-Aid. That's sugar-free. The shame that goes along with having to admit that you fucked up, even the second, third, fourth time, it just gets harder every time. Or it also gets a little bit easier, especially if you take me home the fourth time. Honestly, I'm gonna, in the back of my mind, there's still like that chance, like, oh well,
maybe
I could always go back to rehab or detox and then figure it out from there. And as an addict, it takes...
Oh, you're going to push those boundaries.
Yeah.
And parents, you got to set them.
You got to
set them. And this is a safety issue, okay? You are doing this out of love for your child or your loved one. I mean, this is to protect everyone. Everyone. I mean, it's not... Like when Ava first came home, I didn't want to have to be that pain in the ass saying, here, piss in this. Nobody wants to do that, but we do that because we love you and we want you to be safe. And we also have to protect ourselves. And in my case, I had to protect the rest of my family as well, because when my bank account was empty, that meant the rest of my family was going without things. No bullshit. No bullshit.
At the time, as an addict, you're just...
Hi, Marie.
Especially if you're at the point where you're stealing, it's the old saying, it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than just permission. Really goes a long way in addiction, because especially if you've been forgiven before, it's just, there's where the tough love comes in too, because when my parents actually
I don't like that term, though.
I don't like it either. It's just kind of a generalized term.
I don't like it.
Same thing with rock bottom. There's really no such thing. It's really just a general term people use.
All right, sorry.
So tough love.
For lack
of a better term, tough love. But by the time my parents really actually kicked me out, I didn't know what to do. I had no experience with that at all.
He still doesn't really. He's grown up-ish. Where's your Batman monkey?
Whatever. But it's really hard to justify. I mean, you can justify. That's really justifying and rationalization.
Hi, Dad.
Come in like really, just they're really side by side in this situation. And as an addict, you want to believe you have it, and it can be frustrating. It can be.
We really do.
I would not blame you. I wouldn't blame my family now, even years later, for if they didn't trust me. Like it wouldn't. I would be kind of hurt because I feel like I've earned a legitimate like level of trust, but at the same time, I wouldn't feel surprised if they didn't trust me, because I did everything to just completely burn that. I nuked that bridge. I didn't burn that bridge. There was no bridge left. There was no room to build a new bridge, and they still took me back in after jail.
But this is where parents need to really stop taking the behaviors personally. And this is easier said than done. People are not, when they're in active addiction, they're not doing these things to you. They're doing these things for themselves, because addiction is selfish, and no one wants to be sick. And well, yeah, recovery, but in a different,
completely different way. I just don't know why I said that.
Way, totally unrelated. But
just trying to derail things for no reason.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry.
I lost my train of thought now. Go ahead, now you got to take it, because you made me lose my train of thought. I was the one who chose your train of thought.
I know, you were supposed to tell me to shut up whenever I did that.
Oh yeah, we had this whole code thing worked out where if Kyle was talking too much, I did this subtle, shut up, Kyle!
It's gonna happen. I'm sorry ahead of time. The coffee.
I missed the, all right, so anyways, anyone forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so a time frame. There is none.
There's really honestly no right answer to this. Like, every situation has its variables. Just in life in general, you throw addiction into the mix of anything, and it just throws things completely off the rails. So there's really no right or wrong answer on how you handle it. You need, as an addict, you need to be honest with yourself first and foremost, because it's so easy to lie to yourself and convince yourself.
You're preaching again.
Oh yeah, this is my point of view. I do that a lot. But you have, like, that's where patience comes in too. Like,
everyone has to have some patience, and I think, I don't know, it was easier for me to have the. I don't know who was easier for me who had the patience more. I think I did with Ava in early recovery, because her brain was still saying, I want everything right now. I want a good job right now. I want my license right now. I want my life in order right now. And things take time, and it took her a while to really learn that skill that these things take time.
Yeah, it does. Like when, especially in early recovery, you're convinced that life is gonna be better and that everything's gonna be different.
Yeah.
And then you realize life still sucks sometimes, and it happens.
It does.
But especially when you have to learn how to feel things again, it's tough. And when you're an addict, you've trained your brain for such a long time to have that knee-jerk reaction where if anything goes wrong at all, like, oh well, we used to get high, remember? And you have to remind.
So therefore, the family is going to.
So even if you have your own money, that's only going to last so long. Especially if you're already in the habit of stealing from somebody in the past, that's going to become an option again. You can very quickly convince yourself to just.
So this is where I like your philosophy to tell on yourself, because in this scenario, you can tell on yourself before anything happens. You give someone you trust some control of the situation, because your brain is still healing. I mean, this is a brain disorder. You've really screwed up your brain with these drugs. It's going to take a long time to heal. So you have to have someone at the wheel. And so find somebody that you trust to assist you with this. And I mean, I don't see any, and they can guide you and assist you without doing things for you. I mean, it's a skill. It takes practice, family members or loved ones or somebody who's assisting someone in early recovery. It takes a lot of practice, because there is a very fine line between being a nag and being an assistant.
Yeah, recovery is a process for everyone involved.
It is. It is. We don't know what to do sometimes.
And especially as addicts, we want, like Tiffany just said, we want that instant gratification. We want to if there's we want to fit the square peg in the round hole, and if it doesn't fit, we get a bigger hand.
That happen too, but us as non-addicts, we can see outside of that box that this is going to take time, and you perhaps cannot see that at that moment, and that's where the patience really needs to set in.
No, Robert, neither of us are recovery coaches. We're just kind of we just learned as we went, and this is just our perspective,
experiences and perspectives. I'm the parent of an addict in recovery, and Kyle's in recovery, so
that's why it's hard for me to honestly give advice sometimes to family members, because I've never been on that side before. I can give you the perspective of the addicts.
I feel like we're a good duo, and we thought that perhaps we'd hop on here and give both perspectives from just our own opinions.
Yeah, so no, neither of us are like necessarily professionals in this. We learned the hard way. But since both of us got out fairly lucky in this situation so far, I mean, you can't guarantee anything. The future is an ever.
Well, I don't even like it.
I don't know. I'm a realist, so I don't.
Shut up, Kyle!
Yeah, whatever. It's just my point of view, Kelly. Sorry, it's my point of view. It's true though. Like, you can't tell the future. Well, honestly, realistically, I'm a realist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist.
No, we are not professionals. However, we do deal with addiction every day
on a daily basis.
A lot of the day.
I'm an admin in a huge support group.
I'm an admin. I don't even know how many groups I'm in.
Kelly, is literally all day. Like, I am too, but it's a different kind of. I don't know. We
work together a lot, so yeah, we have different perspectives. So I think it's nice for people to hear both. So I mean, you can't come out of your 30-day rehab and expect that
I never even had 30
family is going to give you the keys and cash and shit. It's just not probably going to happen, and you have to own some of that. I mean, that's, to me, that would be part of recovery, is owning some of that.
100%. You really you have to expect not to be trusted.
I mean,
if you expect otherwise, you're not being honest with yourself.
Ava was very good about that. She was happy to piss in the cup for me. She
100%.
did not argue with me about any of it.
That's what worked for me too. When I got put on probation, that is 100% what I needed, was accountability. And then I was more than happy to go piss in the cup. Like, I didn't care at all. And then one time
she was like skipping into the
bathroom. I had a false positive one time, and it scared the crap out of me because I didn't know how to handle it. Like, I was like, I'm telling the truth, but I wouldn't believe me. I would not have believed me, but I didn't know how to handle it. But luckily, my probation officer and my counselors and everything, they had a level of trust with me for, I think it was like after 7 or 8 months of being clean, that all of a sudden I had a dirty test come up, and I panicked because I didn't want to admit to something I didn't do. But at the same time, I wouldn't believe
drugs
me.
And I get scared to take drugs.
Yeah, it happens because it does happen. Chemicals and tests and everything. There's so many variables that can just throw off everything. That it does happen, and it's unfortunate because honestly, I wouldn't believe anybody either. But it's happened to me, so I have a tendency to trust addicts when they tell stories like that. But it's a fine line.
I don't know. So I mean, basically, there's no real time frame to give for this. It's going to take as long as it takes, to be honest with you. And unfortunately, there are some families that are just not going to be able to see past the behaviors, and that's sad, but it happens.
But like you were saying, we were talking a little bit earlier about this doorbell.
It's on my door. It's a kid, probably.
Yeah, let's just shut the lights off and pretend we're not home. Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
You asshole. Go ahead.
Anyway,
what are you gonna say?
I don't remember now. That really threw me off. But I don't remember. We're terrible with this.
Lives are amazing.
Oh no, like you were saying earlier, if it's been like 10 years and a person doesn't trust you,
well, I mean,
it's time to reevaluate your relationship with that person. Maybe they're just a naturally untrusting person. Yeah, maybe they're just an asshole, and you just gotta get away from them. Sometimes you just gotta get away from people like that. It's really.
I would say with Ava, what we did was we took baby steps. First, it was me being able to not take my purse into the bathroom with me. Then it was for being able to babysit her younger sister for a period of time. And I found that by giving her those little bits of trust here and there, it really built her confidence and it made her feel better about herself. And these weren't real safety issues. So you really have to use good judgment, in my opinion, with what you're going to choose to start with to build the trust, because it should be built back. And in our case, it has been. I mean, I can leave my daughter, I would let spend the night at Ava's house at this point. I still kind of sleep with my purse just out of habit. Sorry, it's just, that's never going to go away. But, you know, Ava knows my pins. I mean, she is.
Oh yeah, you can easily figure out stuff as an ad. We're very, very connected.
No, I knew she had already broken 100 of them.
What,
she knows
I would
sounds.
I would give my parents my paychecks at the first for the first few months almost every time, and then I kind of had to until I earned back that trust, until I started you really do, because when that money's burning a hole in your pocket. And that's when the mind really starts going.
One bad thing.
You're just like, well, I mean, I do have extra money. If I do it once, I'm not going to withdraw, or I'm not going to go through any withdrawals. And even that right there, you have to nip that in the bud. Go to a meeting, talk to somebody, just do something other than keep thinking about it, because.
But that's why the family members are going to be very watchful. And I don't even want to say distrustful. I want to say watchful. I think that's a better term. It's more positive.
But it's really
we're concerned. We love you.
Yeah, it's very
perhaps you've OD'd, and we've almost lost you. I mean, that was my baby. I'm not going to keep my eyes off of her.
Yeah,
and if you're if you're a parent and they're in your home, keep in mind it's your home and your rules, and that's it.
Yeah, if you set the rules. And I know the rules. Exactly. And I'm consciously breaking the rules, then that's right there should be enough to just where you got to draw the line in the sand, and once you cross it,
but
you're on that side.
On the other hand, if you know the rules and you follow the rules, even if it's not for a long period, it didn't take a long time, honestly, for me to see the change in my daughter and to know that she could be trusted with these things. It did not take a long time at all, but. You know, every family is different. Every scenario is different. Every recovery is different. So there's no real time frame for this, but everyone has to practice patience. And I think we should wrap this up since we've already been rambling for 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're right, though. But you're completely right on that. It's you got to earn it.
So
the short story, you got to earn it, and you have to, because you know you're doing well. And they can sense it too. It's really just.
We know a lot more than people.
Yeah, because then there's like sometimes it's kind of hard as an addict. Like if say you're just having an off.
You're not always pulling one over on us.
So you're just having an off day, and someone's still like, "Hey, are you okay? Are you sure?" And that can kind of drive an addict too. Like, well, what am I doing wrong? Like I must not be acting right. And like then you try to change your behavior. But the best thing you can do is just keep doing what you're doing and just prove it to yourself first. You have to prove it to yourself because you'll know deep down when that change happens. It's just like a click, or it's really just like an epiphany, I guess, is for lack of a better term. Like, it's just, you know you can do it, and you know what you have to do. It's just actually doing it.
And
that's
families,
really the main problem.
Don't give those little bits of trust back. Don't assume that it's going to be broken.
Yeah, because that can drive someone away too.
It really can. So I would encourage, as long as it's safe, give a little bit of that trust and see what happens. That's the only way you're going to find out.
Yeah, and as from the addict point, you just do what you got to do. You know what you have to do, and you have plenty of places you can go.
Hi, Ben.
You have plenty of places you can go for, especially these days. So you can go. You have plenty of places you can go for support, answers. Like, it's way more prevalent than it's ever been in the past, and it's only getting worse, unfortunately, before it gets better. But at least people are becoming more aware. But there are additional resources
now that there weren't in the past.
So even 5 years ago, like I didn't know anything about online support groups. I had no idea they existed. So it's really cool to even have this as an option. And there's like you said, there's a lot more resources. There's a lot more people being affected by it. There's a lot more. I don't want to say there's less.
Okay, shut up, Kyler, again too.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up, Kyle.
All right. We love you guys.
No bullshit. No bullshit.
No bullshit. Have a good night, everybody.
Don't do it. Don't.
Oh, the mouse again.